Hey everybody, thank you for joining me in another episode of the Caregiver and Spoonie blog, where I talk about pretty much my story and pretty much what caused me to be diagnosed with PTSD. Now, before we get started, I just want to remind you, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any episodes. And once again, thank you for all the emails that I've been receiving, all the support. I like to hear feedback. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, there can be constructive feedback or destructive. Everything depends on how I take it. So I like that. So let's get started. So I already talked about how I wasn't a good student, which I know I wasn't a good student, and I really don't care because in the end I got my diploma and I'm doing pretty well now without going to college. And as some people, in this case my uncle will say, like, you won't get better in life if you don't go to college. But there's a lot of things that you don't even have to go to college for. So that's what I'm doing right now. So in this story, what I want to talk about is how when I was at my worst in school, like I remember I was in the 11th grade, my brother decided to move to Utah with us. And like I have mentioned before, my brother is not the he's not the sharpest tool in the shed. And when he moved with us, I thought I was the black sheep of the family. I honestly thought I was the black sheep, but I wasn't ashamed. It's very hard. Well, I kind of was ashamed, but at the same time I was like not, so I was kind of like fighting it. And I think that's another reason why I was angry, because I was like, I shouldn't feel like this, but then my family will make me feel like that. So my brother moves in with us, and then he started doing his own thing, like literally fighting with my mom again, fighting with me, but now at this point I'm older, so I'm fighting back. So I'm fighting back, and I have a lot of resentment towards them at that point. So I'm fighting. There was one time where we got in a fight. He grabbed me. He started like choking me, and he slammed my. It wasn't my face. It was my nose towards the edge of the table, and it left this scar right here. Like, I don't know if you guys can see it. I have a scar like right on the bridge of my nose. That's because of what he did. Oh, and there were so many times that we got in fights. And there was one time, I was on the 12th grade or 11th grade. We got in a very bad fight. Like, we were fighting so bad, it got out of hand. My mom didn't know what to do, and I got so mad that I turned off the lights on the house that we were renting. My mom gets so mad and decides to kick me out of the house. But it gets better, because she kicked me out in the middle of a snowstorm. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, it was in the middle of a snowstorm. I was mad because the only reason why she took his side is because he was giving her money to buy food and things like that. So I knew that at that point I wasn't working yet. So I'm like, I knew why she did, because I didn't have anything to provide for her. So she took his side because both of us were in the wrong. But she took his side. So she kicked me out in the middle of a snowstorm. I only had like $20 with me, which is money that I had like, I don't even know where I came up with the money, but I had money. I had only like $20. She kicked me out on a Friday in the middle of a snowstorm. So I go to the mall. We were living closer to a mall. I go to the mall, wait there until they close. I didn't have, and this is before I was able to get a cell phone. So I didn't have anybody's number to call or anything like that. I didn't want to go to my uncle's house because I know he wouldn't do anything, literally. Like, I didn't know what he was going to do. And remember, my aunt didn't really like me or like us, so I didn't want to be like another burden. So I just stayed in the mall, and then they closed. So I started just wandering in the street. I got so cold, I was like, I don't know what to do. So I got into somehow I ended up in this park, and I was like, I was so cold. I'm literally shivering, but I still have my jacket. It was a nice jacket, and I'm like, I'm just gonna take a little nap. So I sat down and I started to take a little nap, and then I literally fell asleep. And I just remember, I don't know if you guys believe this, if you believe in ghosts or guardian angels or whatever, but I remember hearing my grandpa's voice telling me, wake up. Literally, telling me to wake up. So I wake up and I'm covered in snow. So I was like, oh crap, I have to get warm. So I started like, like trying to run and get warm. So I started walking around the streets and I found this like 24-hour store. I go in there, I go to the bathroom, like, and then I use like the hot water, to warm up my hands, and then like the hand dryers to pretty much try to warm up my body, and that's how I stay warm. So I was like, I don't know what to do. At this point, it's Saturday. I didn't call anybody. I didn't know. Everybody else left. Everybody else that I knew was far away from me, so I didn't want to walk that far. So what I did is that I had to, in order for me to stay warm during the night, I actually had to break into a car. Well, it wasn't like breaking into a car; it was already open. Like they left the locks, they left the car open because there was nothing to steal. So I was like, okay, I just got in there. That's how I was able to stay warm. I didn't even have to turn on the car or anything. It was warmer than outside. And one of the things that happened, like this was on a Saturday, I have never heard how like water freezes, but when I heard that, I was like, oh my gosh, because I'm like laying down in the car, and all of a sudden I can hear like, and I look outside and I see like the puddle of water like literally freezing like right in front of me. I was like, whoa, like that is crazy. And the sound that it makes, I'm like, oh my gosh. I still remember. So like I mentioned, I only had like $20 with me. So I had to think how I can make that last. So until I could go to school and talk to my friends. So what I did is that I only ate like one Subway in 3 days, literally. One of those 12 foot, the 12 foot? No, they were 12-inch one. The 12-inch one. So I ate one of those in 3 days, and then I was staying in this car at night. It wasn't even my car. I just broke into it, and that's how I was staying warm. So, and I did that for 3 days, for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So finally, it's Monday. I went to school and I talked to one of my friends. My friend is all like, oh, come stay with us. Like, he was nice. He was all, everything is like, my parents won't care. Like, just come stay with us. Like, we will help you and all of that. So after school, he's like, oh, okay, so we're just going to go to my dad's work. And I'm like, okay. So I fell asleep in the car when we were driving over there, and then we get to my friend's dad work. It was a restaurant, so they fed me. I was like, oh, I'm happy, like I ate a burger. It was an IHOP, so I'm happy. I'm all fed, and my friend talks to his dad. His dad is like, yeah, you can stay with us. It's like, with one condition. I'm like, okay. He's like, you have to go talk to your mom. I'm like, okay. Like, I really didn't want to because I was still mad. And he's all like, if your mom kicks you out again, you can come with us. But if she doesn't kick you out again, then you're gonna stay with her and pretty much fix everything up. And I was like, okay. I mean, at that point, I didn't have any choices, So I went. They took me to the house so I could pick up my stuff. And as soon as I walk in, they left. Literally, they left me there, and I was like, I guess they expecting me to stay. So I go into my room. My mom sees me, and she's all like, where have you been? And I'm like, you kicked me out in the middle of a snowstorm, So I stay in the street. And she's all like, no, you didn't. She's like, no, you didn't. You stay with your uncle. I'm like, no, I didn't. You can call him. No, and she's like, no, you stay with your uncle. I know you stay with your uncle. I'm like, did you check? She's like, no, but you stay with your uncle. I'm like, go ahead, call him right now. Ask him where I was the last 3 days. She's like, no, I don't need to. So she didn't even check on me. She never checked to see where I was. She thought I was with my uncle, which I wasn't. I was in the street for 3 days, and she didn't even check. She didn't say like, oh, where's Jordan? Like, she didn't call my uncle and say like, hey, is Jordan with you or anything like that? So that kind of made me like understand like, oh my gosh, my mom doesn't really care about anybody but herself. And it's true, like she doesn't really care about anybody but herself. She's very selfish, and like I have mentioned before, I have learned to forgive in her because it's not for me to judge her, because I don't know how she was raised. I don't know what happened to her growing up, or if she saw something or somebody said something to her. So I was like, at that point I was angry, but I was like, oh my gosh, my mom didn't really check to see where I was. She didn't call anybody to see where I was. Like, she didn't really care. So I was mad about that. I was really, really mad about it, because I'm like, okay, you first kicked me out, and then you didn't even check to see where I was. You just expected me to go to my uncle's house, which I didn't. And it was hard for me, because I was like, wow. What if I had found like another friend that was like, oh yeah, come stay with us, and I will stay with them, like, and never come back, you know? Like, what would happen? Like, there's all those type of situations where it's like, what if? Or I will just left everything behind and just become homeless at like 16, 17 years old, you know? Like, there's so many things that could have happened, but my mom didn't care. That's the thing. That's the point of the story. Is like, my mom acted like she didn't care. She acted like it was all my fault, pretty much. And like I mentioned, like, I know I was in the wrong, but my brother was also on the wrong. And the only reason why she picked his side is because he was working and it wasn't, and he was able to give her money, and I couldn't yet. So that's the problem, and that's why I know this is gonna sound repetitive, and I say it all the time, and I'm not gonna get tired of saying it. It's like when I hear people looking for their kids because the kids run away, it kind of hits me, because it's like, and I'm not judging or anything like that, but it's like when they say like, oh, you had a good home here, you had all of this here with us, and you decided to leave. For one, that kind of puts shame on them. So if they see, especially now with Facebook, where you look for your kid and you say something like that, I've seen it where the parents are like, my kid ran away, I can't believe he or she will do this. Like, they have all of this here with us, they have a home, they have a healthy family, they have all of this and this and this and this. And I'm like, that will put shame on the kid, because now people are going to look at the kid and say like, oh, you live in all of that? But there's more that we don't know. There's more that we don't know, because what if the parents were not listening to the kid, were not validating their feelings of the kid, which is something that I understand now, like how my feelings were never validated, so I felt angry about that. So this happens a lot, especially with social media. That's why I want to do this, and I want to talk about it, especially with parents, because the problem now, and probably you have seen it, you might know somebody that, especially in the news, where the kid starts talking to somebody on Facebook, Snapchat, or Instagram, or somewhere in social media, and that person, it's a pedophile or a predator or something that acts like he or she can validate the kid's feelings. The kid is gonna be like, oh, this person understands me. This person actually knows what I'm feeling. So that's why when whoever is on the other side of the chat is like, oh, just come with me, let's go somewhere, let's do this, let's do that, and you won't have to suffer, your family doesn't love you. And the kid is gonna be like, yeah, he is right, he understands what I'm saying, he understands that I'm mad and the reason why, so I'm gonna go with this person or whoever this person is because he or she understands me. My family doesn't understand me. So I understand why sometimes kids run away, and that's why I'm saying, like, dude, parents, listen to your kid. And just by listen, when I say listen to your kid, don't just listen, ask the right questions. Like, how are you feeling? And I know somebody that had their kid ran away, and the person was all like, oh, my kid, we have an open communication. And when I talked to the kid, actually, it turns out like it wasn't. Like the parent was always like unvalidating the kid's feelings. The kid was all like, I feel sad. The parent will be like, you don't have to feel sad. I give you everything. So that's right there. Like that right there is unvalidating your kid's feelings. And that's what happened a lot to me. Like when I ran away, or when my mom kicked me out, she was all like, you were not in the streets. You were with your uncle. And I was like, no, I wasn't. So she tried to invalidate my feelings or my experience so she could feel better, because I think she was surprised that I didn't go with my uncle. And here's the funny part though. My uncle never knew about that until there was a time where me and my mom got in a huge fight. It was a huge fight. For some reason, my mom acted like the victim because she wasn't wrong on this one. I think it was the time where she, and I'm gonna talk more about this. She took some of my money and she wasn't gonna pay me back, and she told me like, I'm not gonna pay you back. I guess she thought I was gonna hit her, which I will never do. And instead of calling the cops, she calls my uncle. My uncle comes. My mom had already scratched me like all over my neck. Like my mom's, like I said, she's very violent and very abusive. So she starts scratching me and attacking me, and I just sat down in the living room. And she calls my uncle. My uncle comes over and he's all like, you think you're gonna hit your mom? I'm like, I will never hit my mom. It's like, and then I was so angry and like frustrated because my mom was lying about the whole situation, that I told my uncle, it's like, oh, this is not the first time that this happened. I'm like, when I leave this house, I'm gonna do better and all of this, and they're like, go ahead, leave. You wouldn't do anything without us. You wouldn't be anything without us. So I told him like, oh, I can do it. My mom kicked me out of the house in the middle of a snowstorm, and I told him, and he's all like, what? And I was like, yeah. And I told him when that happened, and he's all like, what? And I'm like, yeah, this happened. And she thought I was with you, but I was never with you, remember? And my mom is so like quiet, like she didn't say anything. My uncle was mad at her. And I'm like, yeah, and you didn't know that. She never told you. And my mom is so like, one of the things about my mom is like when she feels like she has nothing to say because what the other person is saying is true, it's almost, she goes, ah, ah, ah. She does that. And for Mexicans, if you were raised a certain way, you will understand that that's pretty much telling you to F off. I'm not joking, because when I say something to my mom that is true, she's like, it's almost like telling you literally, F off. So if you know a Mexican that tells you, if you're talking to the person and you say something that you know is true and the person goes, it's literally telling you to F off. I'm not joking. Even Gabriel Iglesias makes a joke about this because it's true. And it is true. So my mom started doing that. I told my uncle. My uncle is so like mad about it. And I'm like, yeah, what you gonna do about it? She kicked me out. And the thing is, like I was saying, don't invalidate your kids' feelings. You might say like, oh, they have a house, they have all of this, I buy them everything they want. But material things is not what the kid wants sometimes. They want love. They want to be understood. They want to feel as part of the family. You know, they want to be part of that family. So they want to talk to you about how they're feeling. But if you invalidate them, that's not going to help them. And then or you kick them out, or and like kind of what happened to me, like you kick them out and then you start searching for them on Facebook, but you put this post where you're shaming the kid because it's like, oh, my kid has all of this and this and this and this and this. How can they run away? It's like, there's more to it than that. Like, I'm listening to your side of the story. I want to listen to the side of the story of the kid, because nobody listened to my side of the story, and they tried to invalidate my experience. My mom tried to invalidate my experience and my feelings, and because of that, I got even more angry. So when the kid comes back home, it's not gonna be the same, because it's like, why am I even here? Why did I even come back? And then they're gonna run away again. And if you have that experience, or if you know somebody that is having that particular experience where the kid keeps running away, or the parent keeps kicking the son or the kid away out of the house, and then they're like, oh, but my kid has all of this, how can they act like this? There's more to it. It's in an emotional level. It's not just like physical level, it's more emotional than physical. And anything that you can give them. So that's what I wanted to talk about in today's episode. I hope you still liking this episodes. And like I said, if you want to share your story, you can send it to me anonymously, obviously, at the caregiver and Spoonie@gmail.com. Don't forget to share, like, and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. Don't forget to follow the podcast as well. And like I said, I appreciate all the feedback. I actually feel good about doing this. I feel better. I feel like I'm rediscovering myself. And the reason why I say that is because every time I talk about my stories now, I look back and I say, like, I survived that, so I can go through anything, do even worse, you know. So thank you for watching this, and like always, take care of yourself. Have a good day.